battling it out in the ring. Who will be victorious? You do not want to miss Fight Night.
Well, you can't beat a late spring start to the weekend in South Florida. The weather is popping, and so will the punches tonight as Week 7 in Team Boxing League kicks off with the Phoenix Fury going head-to-head with the Las Vegas Hustle. It's a West Division showdown, everybody. Glad to have you along in our TBL studios alongside the Hall of Famer Dave Bontempo. I'm Justin Shackle. Week 7 kicks off with a neutral site matchup, Phoenix and Las Vegas. Look, we know in boxing there are crossroad fights all the time. This isn't exactly make or break for these two teams at this juncture of the season, but I think, Dave, we're going to find out a whole lot about both squads by the end of the night.
We sure will, Justin, starting with Phoenix, who had a great win over Boston to start the season and then faded in the money rounds against Nashville to go 1-1. So that team is looking for momentum tonight. San Antonio had beaten Las Vegas, so we thought, but Las Vegas got an administrative overturn and won that. So, you know, you catch a break, you look for something to be a springboard for your season. Well, and you're looking at them saying, who is going to propel this springboard? Well, the biggest surprise for this team has been Yohanlo Martinez, who's become one of the best fighters in the league already at 5-0 with 5 points. He has energized his team. 2 wins over Jesse Hart, a breakout for him, and he has continued the momentum. You beat a named fighter, and you feel like you're a named fighter yourself. So he has been a leader for them. He'll go against the guy, ring him up, Ryko Santana. Remember the pay-per-view victory he had after the TBL season last year? Well, ring him up, Ryko has now added 4 more wins this year. He is the leader of the Phoenix team, and interestingly, they will face each other tonight.
Yeah, Santana 20-2 since the beginning of last season, and you can make the parallel that Yohanlo Martinez might be in the same spot that Santana was this time last year. So we're going to see them in 2 rounds tonight. We're going to see the first 8 rounds. That's the launch rounds. And as far as a round to watch right there, round number 6, I think you go up and down both of the rosters for these two teams. And it kind of exemplifies how much experience Las Vegas has over Phoenix.
And so with Dizlan Gainza going in there, his opponent named this week. So guess what? This will be a microcosm of that idea you're talking about. Does the Las Vegas experience carry true? This is going to be one example, and that's why it's a round to watch.
Well, we're watching that round. We're also going to be having our eyes peeled for round number 3. We go over to South Florida and welcome in Amelia Moore, 3rd member of our broadcast team. We have 2 featherweights, Amelia, off to different starts to this season.
You know it, Justin. So tonight, I mean, Vegas and Phoenix as a whole have power matchups across the board, but keeping that eye out, like you said, on round 3, we have Florencias Britos against Tiara Brandt. And I had the opportunity to walk back in the locker room and talk to Tiara tonight. She looks locked in. She looks ready to go. But remember that Britos always brings that relentless pressure and precision in her own right. And so I think that this early matchup very much could set the tone for the entire match. I think it's going to be explosive. And just to kind of top that off, I did have a chance to talk to the Vegas coach, David Hayes, and he had to mention that a lot of the athletes from the Vegas team do have family ties here in South Florida and the Miami region. So it almost feels like a homecoming tonight for them, and the spirits are really, really high.
Some home Cuban comfort in South Florida in this neutral site matchup between Vegas and Phoenix. Thanks so much, Amelia. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the broadcast. Coming up next, we'll meet the fighters from both teams. Phoenix Fury's walkout has been money. We'll see it next, along with the launch round. Stay with us. Team Boxing League is brought to you by Balance of Nature. In boxing, consistency beats intensity. Balance of Nature supplements help you stay consistent with ingredients of whole foods you can easily slot into your daily routine. Go to balanceofnature.com, use code TEAM, and start today. Getting set for a West Division showdown. Phoenix and Las Vegas about to enter the arena. Let's go inside the ring with Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next chapter of high-impact, non-stop action. This is Team Boxing League, where every round matters and every fighter leaves it all in the ring. Each moment of TBL season is available and airs live on MSG Networks and Envoy TV, with Spanish language coverage available on Estrella TV. Welcome to tonight's Week 7 matchup between the Las Vegas Hustle and the Phoenix Fury. We would like to thank Executive Director Tim Shipman and the Florida Athletic Commission for hosting tonight's event, along with our fine sponsors, Climax Moonshine, Fire number 32, Balance of Nature, and Serenity Springs Recovery Center. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Las Vegas Hustle.
The Hustle entering tonight at 2-1. And like Dave mentioned earlier, coming off a win over San Antonio, it was an administrative adjustment. Is that the phrase you used?
Administrative overturn?
No,
yeah, because what happened is a fighter for San Antonio did not show up. Points were awarded to Las Vegas. San Antonio was celebrating an apparent 3-0 start. So there are a couple ways a team can look at that, like, hey, you know, we were a good team last year. We were undefeated. Let's let that be the fire that gets put underneath us.
The coaches of the Las Vegas Hustle are Dewey Cooper and Big D David Hayes. Let's look at the lineups for Las Vegas. Bantamweight Angela Austria, 2016 Olympic bronze medalist and two-time World Games champion Joannis Argilagos. Featherweight Florencia Britos. Lightweight Elena Medina. Super welterweight Dislan Gainza. 2019 National Golden Gloves champion and 2020 Olympic team trialist middleweight Joseph Hicks. Bronze medalist at the World Boxing Championships and multi-time national and international champion Jaire Ruiz. Featherweight Jordan Edwards. Former Pan American Games, World Series of Boxing and multi-Cuban national champion, lightweight Osvela Caballero. Super lightweight Joanna Guameru. Four-time Cuban national champion, welterweight Tatiana Castro. Super middleweight Diane, the Cuban sniper de Pestre. Light heavyweight Yochendler Martinez. Cruiserweight Luis Portuando Cala. And the heavyweight top 5 in the pound-for-pound rankings, Ty Brooks. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the Las Vegas Hustle. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Phoenix Fury.
Well, Dave, the Phoenix Fury enter at 1-1. This is just their third event of the season. They beat Boston in their series opener and then lost big time to Nashville 18-9 back on April the 17th. They were crushed 14-5 after the launch round. So we need to see what type of team this is after rounds 1 through 8.
Especially since they came back from a 7-1 deficit to beat Boston. So the thought going into that last one was, oh, this is a good team in the second half of the fight. So it probably shocked them just as much that Nashville went on a big run in the money round. So this is a team searching for an identity, and they would like to fill in some of those spots here.
The Phoenix Fury are Sonny Gutierrez and Joe Guzman. Here is the starting lineup for the Phoenix Fury. Bantamweight, Aniela Lopez. Featherweight, Alejandro Mediano. Featherweight, Tierra Brandt. Lightweight, Marcos Forestal. Welterweight, Colin McNeil. Super welterweight, Todd Manuel. Middleweight, Jordan Barrera. Heavyweight, Manuel Villalobos. Featherweight, Brenda Hernandez Cardenas. Lightweight, Kevin Quintero. Super lightweight, Joy Pendel. Welterweight, Judah Yisrael. Super middleweight, Sebastian Salomon Duran. 2025 TBL Most Valuable Fighter. Light heavyweight, Raico El Corojo Santana. TBL Most Resilient Fighter Cruiserweight, Charles CP the Champion. And heavyweight, Dante Stone. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the starting lineup for the Phoenix Fury. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise if you're able to for the singing of our national anthem, being sung this evening by Jasmine McClover.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Jasmine McClover with the singing of our national anthem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to begin the launch rounds. We start off at 118 pounds. For Las Vegas, it is Angela Austria. For Phoenix, Aniela Lopez.
And we do start off at 118 pounds, a pair of single round fighters. Beginning round one, these two only scheduled to fight this one round tonight. And we'll see if that holds true. Swing rounds may be needed, but we'll see. 1 through 24 is always how it's scheduled. As we get underway between Phoenix and Las Vegas. Again, 24 one-round fights, each round 3 minutes. Competition spread across these 12 weight classes. Fighters rotating in and out. And Austria and Lopez. First one's up. Lopez in the maroon fight kit. Austria in the black for Vegas, who is looking to improve to 3-1 and pick up a big win over a division foe.
You know, Lopez did a lot of shuffling back with her appearance against Monica Lugo. Did a lot of good boxing. Austria was nailed with a few good body shots by Elena Mondahano. And you're curious that if in the scouting report, if she saw that might be effective and may try that strategy here.
Also, Dave, if you're just looking at the body profiles of these two fighters, Lopez is a fighter listed at 5'5". Austria's at 5'4". Lopez looks like she has more than just 1 inch height advantage over Austria.
Yeah, she looks like she's got maybe 4. So, yeah, if she starts with the same thing.
Big combo right there. And then chopping more wood with that right hand. My goodness, the 1-2 combo upstairs. But before that, a great shot to the body.
Yeah, the body shots, is talking about those. And the height and reach to use that. The jab can set up even a little bit more distance. And now she is gliding.
Daniela Lopez with some impact shots in round 1. A little over a minute in this first round, and she is just peppering Austria with rights and lefts, slipping past the guard with those punches. It's really impressive, some of the accuracy, because you do have a high guard with Angela Austria.
Yeah, and you could throw out the jab and then go hard to the body, which she did, and then it sets up other shots like that.
Another right hand. Daniela Lopez, accuracy personified for the Phoenix Fury. So far, 2-0. Looks to be well on her way to 3-0.
And these are some big shots that she is landing here with the right hand, and you just can fall in love with a certain idea. I was waiting for that uppercut, and there it is against the smaller fighter.
Even when she gets herself out of position, she almost used a punch that time to land herself back in the proper setting.
Now, I was talking about the scouting report and maybe what the talk of the teams are. And when you look and you see the impact that those previous body punches had on your opponent, you might get into a power mode and become more confident.
You hear Joe Guzman and Sonny Gutierrez, the coaches for Phoenix, yelling for Lopez to finish strong. Strong was the theme with her punches throughout that first round.
Well, she was certainly able to utilize the reach right there, and it was a sneaky right hand. You're looking for maybe a jab. It's a jab look. Nope. Then there goes the body shot and the right hand. And then a clubbing right hand to finish it off. She was really grooving in that last minute of the round. She found a great rhythm and wins this one going away.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 1 by way of unanimous decision. From the Phoenix Fury, Daniela Lopez. Round 2 at featherweight for Las Vegas, Joannis Argilagos. Phoenix, Alejandro Meniano.
Round 2 set to begin. Amelia Moore talked about it before we got started tonight. Joannis Argilagos for Las Vegas, who you see right there, 29-year-old Cuban who lives in Doral, part of the Miami area, a part of Miami. There is a lot of Cuban fighters up and down this Las Vegas roster, so when they're fighting here in South Florida, they have a lot of family and friends in attendance, a lot of support.
And Argilagos set a blistering pace when he went up against Jorge Romero. And even though he was out-muscled at times and nailed with some body shots, he ended up getting the call because he was persistent and hung in there and landed a few good shots and boxed smartly himself.
Alejandro Meniano showing a fast job to start round 2. Tattooed from the neck down, literally.
Well, you know what? If you didn't see the trunk colors, you have a way to identify him.
25-year-old southpaw, originally from the Philippines, then moved to Hawaii when he was 12 years old. He's now living in Vegas. But he competes here for Phoenix. This is his TBL debut. Big swing and a miss from Arguelagos. Maniano coming back with a counter.
He's been an 8-round company as a pro, so the adjustment to starting quickly, it takes fighters a little bit of time, but it's something we see a lot of fighters grasp before too long.
Good chess match from a sequence moments ago. Maniano slipped out of the way of a couple of punches, tried to throw the counter, and Arguelagos did land a left hand after missing with a series of punches. So speed, the main theme here for round number 2 between these two at 126 pounds.
We talked about that pace, and these fighters have been true to that. And it's interesting to see the approach as he try to make the points with the judges. Instead of throwing 8 punches, 10 punches, it's smart to throw 4, back up, let that register hopefully, and then try and throw 4 more.
Well, instead of backing up, Maniano walked into a right-hand body shot moments ago from Arguelagos.
That's why it would have been better to back up.
But they are throwing a lot of punches. Not too much has landed. So the ones that they do catch your eye. They stand out.
They do. And also, you see, you throw 8 to 10 punches, and it may be a small percentage getting in. You might not get credit for any of them. So get some in, reset, try to get some more in.
See the Rio Olympic ring tattoo on the back of Arguelagos. Won a bronze medal at the 2016 Rio Games. A 2-time gold medalist at the World Championships for Team Cuba. This is going to be a close round to score.
And Arguelagos was fighting with a conscious eye to please the scoring system. We were talking about trying to register with the judges. He did that at the end. We talked about the blistering pace, and here it is. They both came out here with Mariano setting the pace, and Arguelagos on the body attack. Excellent work by both fighters there with a tremendous enthusiasm and pretty good mechanics as well.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 2 by way of unanimous decision from the Phoenix Fury, Alejandro Maniano. Round 3 at featherweight, Las Vegas, Florencia Britos. Phoenix, Tierra Brent.
Florencia Britos entering the ring. The first of her 2 rounds tonight. There's Tierra Brant off to a nice start for the Phoenix Fury. She made her TBL debut nearly a year ago, and on night 1 earned Fighter of the Night honors. And she has a 3-0 start here to 2026.
Tierra Brant got a double in her last outing, and also against an opponent who's dropped by a hook. I'm curious about that. And Amelia, what about scouting reports? You seem to see it in the opening fight. When you know your opponent's been dropped the fight before, you kind of try to go to that.
It looks like just Flo's energy right now is really showing that she's putting the gas on, and she doesn't want to get caught in that position again. And I was just hearing Coach Dewey Cooper from the Vegas team, he was saying, keep it tight, don't give up shots. So, looking at the team, you guys have to be really, really precise in what your shots are. But I think Flo just really doesn't want to give up those points again. She's one of those athletes that's really competitive.
Some excellent body work by Britos. Amelia, what about the switch here? Did you think that was a random switch, or did Britos see something that made her move?
I mean, right now it appears to me that Tierra's having a little bit of hard time with the distance. She's over smothering, and Florencia is having a really good is having a good go with closing that distance, which pretty much just doing whatever she wants with that distance. So potentially, you know, she moves Brandt left and right to see maybe potentially like which way she's strongest or not. And coming over with that overhand, excuse me, that left overhand or left hook.
Don't let the records fool you here. This has been an impressive round for Florencia Britos, who is a 20-round winner in her TBL career.
That's one of the nice things about TBL is it's a fresh start every week. Fresh opponent, fresh outlook. And, you know, we've seen fighters with streaks, and then they put a few fights together for their team, and they can make a difference in the final scoring results. If you have a short memory, that's a good characteristics in TBL.
This has been a one-sided round for Florencia Britos. Now, Brandt has caught on just a little bit from where she started, but Britos has controlled the pace and the tempo, coming in and out at will.
His body shots have been very effective by her. Brandt figured out what she wanted to do, but too late.
We'll see these two women again in round 17 to kick off the money rounds, but here in the launch phase, Florencia Britos clicking on every cylinder.
Yeah, Britos right, leaning in with a terrific left hook and able to withstand any potential counter. Goes lefty, and then there's the good body work again. Brandt did match her here, and I'm kind of like curious about how that will carry over next time they fight. Glad they are.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 3 by way of split decision. From the Las Vegas Hustle, Florencia Britos. Round 4 at lightweight, Las Vegas Ellen Medina, Phoenix Marcos Forestal.
We move up to 135 pounds. There's a look at Marcos Forestal, who is about to make his TBL debut. 5'8" Cuban southpaw, currently lives in Katy, Texas, but originally from Guantanamo in Cuba. So Phoenix has won 2 of the first 3 rounds. They have 4 fighters in the launch rounds who will be fighting later on tonight. Charles Pugh, we won't see him until the middle rounds. He'll also be fighting in the money rounds, and Charles is standing with Amelia right now.
Charles, so from your perspective, what is it that you want to see out of your team to be able to really come through with the first 8 rounds to start taking the pace with the fight?
These first 8 rounds is very important. We got to finish, you know what I mean? A lot of times you might start off fast, or you got to finish fast, you know what I mean? You got 1 round to prove it, and a lot of these guys in the first round, they don't get that second round, so there's no redemption. We got to win it right then and there, beginning and end.
So when you're looking at Vegas as a team, is it better, like you said, are we looking to set the tone, or more so leaning towards avoiding mistakes that may cost you long term?
Definitely avoiding the mistakes, because they're a good team. They got a lot of Cuban nationals. I got to fight a Cuban national, and if you make mistakes, they'll make you pay. You know, they got a lot of history. You know, they got a lot of expertise. So, you know, we come in and we limit the mistakes, we'll be all right tonight. Trust me.
And thank you so much, Charles. And that's exactly why these first launch rounds are so important.
Very important.
Justin, get us back in the ring.
Yeah, Charles Pugh will be back in action in round 15, also in round 19. But in Phoenix, you want to pay attention to how they come out of the gate here, because it did not go their way against Nashville last time. They were outscored 14-5 after the launch rounds.
So this is the type of situation, the way they started, that can build some confidence and just like sweep that last one away. And their hopes now in this fight, riding on Marcus Forrestal. You know, he's 11-1 with 6 knockouts as a pro. We've seen that he's been able to score a 1-punch knockout. So that's there. The question is, how will he harness it into this new quick format?
Medina, meanwhile, 1-2 here in 2026. 14 and 21 lifetime in TBL. It's his 4th season. This is obviously a new test for Forrestal, like Dave mentioned. This is a fighter who is a decorated amateur, a 3-time Cuban national champion, trying to come back from some personal and self-inflicted adversity in his life. He served time in prison after pleading guilty to vehicular manslaughter, and he's now attempting to just relaunch his boxing career. And it seems like he feels like he did enough offensively because he's not throwing any punches, has the low guard, and is just trying to defensively make Medina look incomplete as that round ends.
Well, if you look at the Phoenix bench, they're in agreement with that idea that he had. And we'll see what the judges say. It's more like what didn't get in this round versus what did. Have a lower scoring affair.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 4 by way of split decision. From Las Vegas, Elena Medina.
Vegas and Phoenix, they split the first 4 rounds. We're square at 2 as we still have 4 more to go here in the launch round. Coming up, Ranier Salgado, Colin McNeil. The welterweights are up next. A 2-2 tie between Phoenix and Vegas through 4 rounds. Let's get round 5 started at 147 pounds.
Round 5 at welterweight. Las Vegas, Ranier Diaz Salgado. Phoenix, Colin McNeil.
There is Ranier Salgado. And Colin McNeil, another fighter for Phoenix, making his TBL debut tonight. McNeil will be back in round number 20 against Darian Castro. So Colin McNeil, in his first taste of Team Boxing League, is going up against 2 fighters with at least 20 TBL rounds of experience.
The definition of baptism by fire.
And he eats a sharp, straight left hand from close range by Salgado. Here's Salgado, 2-1 this season. Overall, in his TBL career, 7-13. Split his first 2 rounds of the season, then beat San Antonio's Andres Pereira a couple of weeks ago.
You can see the dilemma in facing him, too, because he is such a relaxed fighter with the southpaw style, the Cuban background. The guy that could get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and throw a jab and a hook and then go back to sleep. It's so natural for him.
Oh, the glove touched the ground, Dave. That's going to be ruled a knockdown. There was maybe a punch that preceded it.
Yes.
But Colin McNeil says, no, that was just a flash knockdown. He lost his footing. I don't know about that. I think a punch rocked him.
Well, here's a flash that counts. Talking about his comfort zone, that he's difficult to face with that good boxing style. And, you know, it will have to be something where, hey, McNeil gets woken up by that.
Ranier Salgado has that left hand timed perfectly already. not even halfway through this round, and it might just be a matter of time right now.
Yeah, and does he have enough to get more? Because, see, the right hook, already the knockdown. Dancing, elusive, now annoying McNeil, who is trying to get some good work of his own in. That knockdown made him mad. And you put him on another level, which could be high risk or high reward.
Now, is he mad at himself or at his opponent?
I think he's mad at himself and trying to drive himself up a level.
We'll see. Oh, there it is. Straight left hand, right out of the cannon from Ranier Salgado. And this one is over.
High risk comes with high reward, and that one was high risk. He went attacking, and he paid the price. Wow.
McNeil on the stool. He gets up under his own power. That is great to see, but Las Vegas with 4 big points here in round 5.
Now, let's follow this through. We talked about the effects of that flash knockdown as he thought. Okay, gloves touch, it counts. Now, okay, now you're mad. So you're coming in. He's storming in, straight in, and boom. He walks into more. This is what happens on the circuit. It's an emotional sport. It's not all X's and O's. He comes in, halts for a second, and pays the price. He did not punch his way in. He walked in. And that is, I think, a continual effect of the first knockdown.
Comes at 2 minutes of round 5. For your winner by knockout, 4 points going to Las Vegas is Reiner Diaz Salgado.
So a massive swing in the launch rounds. Extra points for Salgado in the hustle.
Round 6 at super welterweight, Las Vegas, Dislan Ravoa Gainza, Phoenix Todd Manuel.
Well, one punch can change a whole lot if you're Phoenix. Still an uphill battle to climb now in these launch rounds. And here's our round to watch, Dave. Round 6, Dislan Gainza. There you see Todd Manuel. And this is success versus struggles within TBO. It is experience versus inexperience. Gainza 15-5 lifetime, Manuel 4-18.
And he just saw what inexperience did on his team. So, you know, you have a lot trying to make up for if you're Manuel. And Gainza, you're pumped up with what you just saw. You're thinking, hey, wait a second, I think this is our night. We're better than them. And when you're the guy following the fighter who just scored a big knockout, you are motivated even more.
Gainza is another Cuban southpaw for Las Vegas, 24 years of age. He has 2 stoppages in his TBO career.
And we talked about, you know, the Cuban southpaw style leading into some power there. You would have to take a fighter out of his comfort zone, and the answer would be a lead right hand, but you have to take a risk in order to get close enough to throw it, and Gainza is thinking for the home run. The good right hook that he threw, and maintaining his leverage and his punching position.
Left hand coming through, then a 2-punch combo connecting from Gainza. Dave, I tell you what, those feet from Todd Manuel, they are awfully wide.
Yeah, and he's a target for some power shots against the guy who is sensing it. Big left hook, big right hand. And, you know, for Phoenix, this went downhill quick after that great 2-0 start.
Look at that long reach. A counter right followed by a straight left from Gainza. Then another 2-punch combo that rocks Manuel back. And a great right hook that connects from Dislan Gainza. Manuel trying to counter back on his own. There's a sharp left hand as this one is under 45 seconds here in the 6th round.
And you see the dilemma for Manuel. He comes in, he's trying to move the head a little bit to find punching position, and he still eats leather every time he does that. A guy who's a sharp marksman can do that to you. You can try a lot of different techniques. He's trying to bob and weave, get underneath. But if you get underneath inside the jab, you might get an uppercut from this guy.
And it also seems like Dislan Gainza, after tasting a couple of punches, feels like Todd Manuel can't hurt him. So he's going to be willing to risk some of that distance and go in for some of his bigger shots.
And he did that. The clock looks ready to intervene and make this a one-pointer. But, yeah, the good aggression, and if you're Vegas, you love the aggression you've seen in the last 2 fights. Not only the knockout, but in the follow-up fight, which is this one, that their fighter went for it right away. And there's Gainza with the nice right hook, cutting off the ring properly. Then, I love that angle. Shift to the right, but before he can key on a wide shift, he abruptly stops and lands 2 punches. That's experience.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 6 by way of unanimous decision. From Las Vegas, Dislan Gainza. Round 7 at middleweight, Las Vegas, Joseph Hicks. Phoenix, Jordana Barrera.
Well, Las Vegas has won 4 straight rounds, highlighted by a round 5 KO from Ranier Salgado. They're up 7-2. Here comes Joseph Hicks and Jordan Barrera, which we'll see in round 23 as well. 260-pounders going at it. Hicks, 32-year-old in his first TBL season, 2-2 to start his career. Beat Tracy Magruder of San Antonio in 2 rounds last time out. He's in the black trunks for Vegas. Jordan Barrera has 3 stoppages in his TBL career. He's making his season debut. 10-7 lifetime in the league.
Very significant juncture in this match. It's early, but Las Vegas has aspirations of pulling away. And there's still a lot of time, so you can't get it all back at once. You have to try 1 point, 1 fight at a time. If something opens up in your Phoenix, fine. But in the meantime, you need to stop it, even if it's just 1 point.
Barrera, 29 years of age. He's a southpaw from Cuba, and he lives in Miami, so this is a trip home for the Phoenix middleweight. And Jordan Barrera, Dave, can say something that no other fighter in Team Boxing League can state. He has 2 victories over Rashidi Ellis in his TBO career.
Who put that up on the mantle? You know, the picture of it and everything. Yeah. Hard to imagine.
It, right?
Hey, Rashidi, I have a favor for you. Yeah, when you see what Rashidi Ellis has done, that's quite an accomplishment. And this time, Phoenix has the Cuban southpaw. And what a surprise, they're having a good round. Cuban southpaws have been electric so far in the launch round.
We're going to see Rashidi Ellis and the Boston Butchers on Saturday. They're going to be taking on Miami. It's going to be a good matchup.
You know, we talk about 1 point at a time, but you know what? There's a chance for more here for Barrera. And you get the idea he senses that there's opportunity.
He's landed a couple of good left hands over the last minute on Joseph Hicks.
And there's an urgency from Barrera. He's closing the distance right away. And that left hand down the chute. Landed it a couple times, just missed with it there. But These are inches he's missing a big punch by.
The counter left hook from Hicks moments ago. 15 seconds to go in round 7. It's a 5-point lead. Both fighters punching with one another, both landing. So after a static first 60 seconds or so, the final 2 minutes with some electricity, and especially there at the horn, a right hand lands by Barrera.
It looks initially like a Barrera win. You look at the body language of the fighters, that would agree with that. And here's how he stepped up, and he tried for more. He didn't get it, but the opponent tying up, using the clock, making sure the gloves didn't touch. The lefty outside, the Cuban southpaw with a different team this time. That's all. That effective, sneaky lead left hand off of the jab look.
Let's see who gets their hand
Ladies and
raised.
gentlemen, the winner of round 7 by way of unanimous decision, from the Phoenix Fury, Jordana Barrera. Our final launch round will be in the heavyweight division. Las Vegas, Eric Ruiz. Phoenix, Manuel Villalobos.
So Vegas has a 4-point lead. And here's one of the disadvantages for Las Vegas tonight. There you see Eric Ruiz. He's only scheduled to fight in 1 round. That is a big fighter for this Hustle squad. Manuel Villalobos, 24 years of age, out of El Paso. But Ruiz, 14-4 in his TBO career, 3-1 to start 2026. It is one and done for him tonight.
Yeah, and is a guy that shows you, as you take a look at his profile, you might think the team is pretty deep that they can only use him for one event. Comes off of 2 nice victories facing Inagi Aguilera. He got a unanimous decision and then a split.
Yeah, Villalobos is the one coming forward here for Phoenix.
And he's the guy that scored the knockout in the fight against Boston that helped bring Phoenix all the way back from when it appeared to be an insurmountable deficit, and then Quintero got them the win in the last event.
There was one really strong jab from Ruiz moments ago that halted the motor of Villalobos, and now Ruiz is using that jab, sort of peppering him. But there was one thrown with absolute conviction moments ago.
Now for him, it's a matter of the distance, height, and reach. He's moving smartly, trying to cut off the ring and then launch into his attack, which he does there, moving smartly. Another good stiff jab, and it leads into the power display. You have to love that. The jab setting up the power. Beauty of it is the jab gets in, great. It doesn't, at least gives you distance and able to work inside.
A little over a minute to go in the 8th and final round here in the launch round phase. Villalobos punches himself out of position, and Ruiz with a couple of combos, mostly blocked by Villalobos. But it is more than what the 24-year-old is throwing out on offense right now for Phoenix.
Yeah, these are some good shots here by Ruiz, who has also, you rarely say this about a heavyweight, but he's pesky on top of everything else. He's boxing with the speed you'd see at a lower weight class.
It's good feet. 30 years of age.
And if he can't stop you, he'll annoy you. And he's done a great job of being elusive when his offense is not there.
Go back to that one strong jab. I think it changed the complexion of this entire round, Dave, because after that one jab that caught Villalobos square right in the face, he stopped moving forward.
Changes a lot if it's an effective punch. And that turned him into a resourceful boxer. There's a jab that gets in. Now look at the movement here. This is a big guy. I talked about pesky. You don't say that much about heavyweights. The quick feet, and then the jab setting up his best shots. Great sense of his distance. In, then back.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 8 by way of unanimous decision. From the Las Vegas hustle, Jairek Ruiz. At the end of the launch rounds, Las Vegas leads Phoenix 8-3. The middle rounds are on the way.
All right, so a great start to this for Vegas. The middle rounds are straight ahead. Speaking of straight ahead, what about the rest of the weekend's fight card? Here's Justin to tell us all about it.
Thanks so much, Dave. Still plenty more to come in this West Division showdown between Phoenix and Las Vegas. And our weekend is just beginning. Tomorrow, we head back to the War Memorial for a top-shelf matchup. Rashidi Ellis and the Boston Butchers try to dethrone Victor Abreu and the undefeated Miami Assassins. Then on Sunday, Team Boxing League travels north to Atlanta, Georgia for an East Coast showdown as Stacia Suttles and the Philadelphia Smoke look to continue their dominance, taking on the Atlanta Attack. 24 3-minute rounds await you all weekend long, only on Team Boxing League.
Getting ready for a great weekend in South Florida, and it has been a great start to tonight's event for the Las Vegas Hustle, up 8-3 on the Phoenix Fury. We welcome you back inside our TBL studios. Justin and Dave with you. We talked about Las Vegas having the experience over some of the fresh faces for Phoenix. We saw a couple of Phoenix fighters make their debuts in the launch round. They didn't win any of them.
No, not good for them. And for Las Vegas coming in here, we saw the turnaround in the middle of the launch rounds and the idea that maybe now they can pull away, have some momentum in the second half. The experience and some talented fighters took over.
Well, you talk about that theme. Look no further than round number 5 as we take a look at some of the big rounds from the launch round phase. Ranier Salgado, Conlan McNeil making his TBL debut. And Salgado, Dave, found an early home for that left hand.
Yeah, he certainly did. And this is where Las Vegas got its biggest lead. Take a look at that big shot. You know, he's a Cuban lefty, talked about his good boxing style, but if you just walk in, there's the knockdown. And then what happens is, hey, your opponent gets mad, he's going to come in, not thinking, and he gets dropped again. So that was one scenario leading into the other, and that's a veteran fighter taking advantage and giving Vegas 4 valuable valuable points. And, that was what got them well in front. And the fun continued with Dislan Gainza. We were talking about the theme of talented Cuban southpaws. Well, yes, we see it again as he was able to overwhelm his opponent.
Yeah, Todd Manuel looked like he was overmatched throughout this round. Gainza able to pepper him and showed a lot of great accuracy as well, taking him all over the ring. So Gainza picks up the win, just outboxes Todd Manuel in this one, and we're going to see this matchup again later on in the money rounds. It's going to be coming up in round number 18. So you're also seeing some breadcrumbs of that inexperienced versus fresh face theme here for Las Vegas. As we take a look at the middle rounds here, rounds to watch, round 14. We talked about it at the top. It's a good one. Yohanler Martinez, Rayco Santana, who has really taken the league by storm since the start of last year. It feels like Martinez could be in that position that Santana was last year.
Yeah, these are two guys who have really electrified the league so far this year with what they've been doing. Talked about Rayco Santana and the momentum from last year, and Martinez. Oh, look at this guy. Couple wins over Jesse Hart. Now you're seeing the breakout phase for him. And we're delighted that they're going to face each other in the middle rounds. And regardless of whatever the score is at that time, you talk about the trajectory, which you mentioned earlier about one fighter being where the other was last year. I'm kind of fascinated to see where these guys are tonight.
Yeah, 5-0 start for Martinez in his season, and for Santana, 20-2 lifetime since the start of last year. That's round 14. We start the middle rounds with round number 9. We go back inside with Ray Flores.
It's time to begin the middle rounds between Las Vegas and Phoenix. Round 9 at featherweight. Las Vegas, Jordan Edwards. Phoenix, Brenda Hernandez Cardenas.
Here's Jordan Edwards. She's off to a 1-4 start in her TBL career after splitting a pair of rounds with Leanne Calderon of San Antonio. That was a big win in that match between Vegas and San Antonio. It came after Edwards fell earlier in the night. And here is Brenda Cardenas, the Brown Bomber, teeing off on Edwards to start off round number 9.
And Cardenas may be aware of how Edwards pressed the pace in getting her first win a couple weeks ago. Did a great job, actually had learned from previous experience to come on strong as she moved straight ahead, and it was not denied. It was an uplifting win for her. But she's coming against an opponent who looks stronger than her on the inside and is greeting her in that straight ahead style. And this is his mano a mano, the female version with these two fighters going straight ahead to decide it. We'll see who shifts gears and decides to box if either one of them do.
Cardenas has been Phoenix's Swiss Army knife in the sense that she fought at multiple weight classes last year, even jumped up to as high as 140 pounds if it was needed. And she's had success, 8-6 fighter in her time here in the league. This one fighting at 126 pounds.
Now, we saw Cardenas flying out of the gate here, and then Edwards trying to rally in the second half of this. And what's the difference so far has been some good body work by Cardenas. Yet now, Edwards looks like she has found something, kind of like a horse that makes the big move at the same time every race. Final minute or so, she's picked up her game as she did last time.
Well, so you could say her tempo's golden right now, Dave.
That's very good, talking about the Kentucky winner. Yes, indeed. Kentucky Derby winner at a big price.
The fruit was hanging low, folks. .45 seconds left in round number 9. Phoenix has work to do. Down 8-3 in the head-to-head score. Looking for a win over a division opponent to kick off week 7.
It's been an interesting momentum flow all within 3 minutes. both fighters have been able to make 2 sustained runs at each other, with Edwards having her second one right now. And it's one thing if fighters say, I take my turn, you take your turn for 1 punch. And now coming back out for a flurry is Cardenas. But we have had, when you score in bunches.
Headbutt there near the end of the round. And it looks like there's a gash over that left eye of Edwards. That happened within the final seconds of the round.
And there are bad breaks and there are really bad breaks, because that's the type of situation that can cause you to be out for a while.
We'll see if they can control that cut. At the moment, Jordan Edwards not scheduled to compete later in the night. We'll see what the judges had to say about that round.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 9 by way of split decision from the Phoenix Fury, Brenda Hernandez Cardenas. Round 10 at lightweight, Las Vegas, Osvaldo Caballero. Phoenix, Kevin Andres Quintero.
Osvaldo Caballero on your screen. A very impressive Cuban featherweight. There's Kevin Quintero. Standout amateur out of Ecuador, 25 years of age.
Great fight he had with Roger Hilly in the last time of Blazing Pace. They both fought, and of course he had that big win for Phoenix, giving them the win in week 1.
So Osvaldo Caballero, an all-star here in Team Boxing League, trying to fight off Kevin Quintero here. Amelia, what do you make of Caballero's start to his 2026 season? Because it's been a mixed bag.
And usually we see way more consistency with him. He's usually blows out the competition. I'm not sure how to answer that. It's trying to find his feet almost a little bit. And I was really interested in this round specifically because, you know, Osvaldo, he is an Olympian. He's a world's gold medalist. And then you have Quintero from Ecuador, who he has AIBA World Championship appearances as well. So not as decorated, but still has that world experience. I was really interested to see what kind of action would happen between the 2 of these guys.
I think Quintero's picking up pace-wise where he left off with Roger Hilly. He lost a split in that, but it was a great fight. But he seems fortified by the pace, even as he eats a right hand.
Another right hand.
Didn't bring the jab with him and got caught again.
I'm with you, Dave. I feel like if that jab has been thrown, it could have prevented a lot of those shots that have just landed from Caballero.
Yeah, and you know, talking about the experience, but you know, your focus can disappear or not be there for a little bit of time, and that's, you know, from a veteran fighter, you're a little surprised to see that.
Good punching on the back foot for Caballero, who's turned it into a show.
Amelia, has Caballero been effective with the movement, even when it looks like that Quintero is putting the pressure on him?
I think that Caballero has started to find his pace a little bit more. So in the beginning, you know, Quintero was coming in with a lot of pressure. And I think it took a little bit for Caballero to find his footing. But now it's like you can see that his defensive movement's working way better, and he's able to catch Quintero with those jabs to kind of slow it down.
Well, the end of round 10, Caballero and Quintero not scheduled to fight later in the night, and the activity packed into these 3 minutes.
There was a good right hand by Caballero. They put everything in. Now there's the movement, a little bit more effective, even as he eats the right hand. We saw him, even though he's moving backward, that there was a little bit more side-to-side movement mixed in with that by Caballero. And those earlier punches he landed were not there.
The winner
later.
of round 10 by way of unanimous decision from the Phoenix Fury, Kevin Andres Quintero. Round 11 at super lightweight, Las Vegas, Joanna Nwamaru, Phoenix, Joy Pendel.
So Phoenix on a bit of a hot streak here, closing the gap, now down by just 3 points after winning 3 of the last 4 rounds. And here we go at super lightweight, Nwamaru for Vegas, Pendel for Phoenix.
And Nwamaru is this is the fight I'm real curious about where she is in her development, because she came out with 2 wins to start and then had to face Stacey Suttles and Latia Williams back-to-back. So those 4 losses can be very deceptive. And, you know, we might see her emerge against other fighters as pretty effective.
Well, she's punching up against Joy Pendel, and she's punching accurately against the taller fighter. Going up with the overhand right.
And what we're seeing differently here for Nwamaru is there's not a fighter coming right at her and putting on the pressure as Williams was and as Suttles was. Latia Williams dropped her, almost stopped her, but Nwamaru showed a ton of heart in staying in that fight. And, you know, if you write about where she is, this is a good matchup for her.
One where she could potentially gain some points and some confidence as she moves along in her first TBL season. She has been moving Pendel around and at times getting pretty nasty about it.
And she was really happy in the first week. She came in with us, talked about how she's the sweet, sexy savage and, you know, going to market herself. But really played into the idea of the league. And you put that in the back of your head and, okay, by the way, here's 2 of the best women's fighters in the league back-to-back. Now you don't have those. And so she should be favored coming into this one.
Right hand connects for Nwamaru. Not a whole lot of activity from Joy Pendel. Tried to come in with that straight right. Nwamaru with good foot movement.
Like the pressure being put on by Nwamaru and just showing something, even if it's not a punch that's landing, how she makes Pendel reload.
Final 10 in round 11. I think Nwamaru acquitted herself nicely here.
I do too. I think she found a level where basically I think she's going to be a fairly strong fighter in this league in the long haul. Talk about in the beginning the fights with Suttles and Williams could be a little, can obscure her true abilities.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 11 by way of unanimous decision from the Las Vegas household, Joanna Nwamaru. Round 12 at welterweight, Las Vegas, Darian Castro. Phoenix, Judah, Israel.
Darian Castro in the ring, getting ready to roll against Judah Israel. Just a 20-year-old here in TBL, looking for his first win in the league. Going up against the untouchable. As Vegas is up by 4.
And Castro had a nice outing against Charles Garner. Even though he was had a surprise loss, he did come back and get a split. Very active fighter, puts a lot of pressure on. Really makes his opponents uncomfortable, makes them fight when they don't want to fight.
Castro lost 2 of his first 3 rounds of 2026. And split 2 rounds with Charles Garner. So just a 2-3 beginning to the season.
And that's somebody you're looking for a breakout to come from him at some point.
Where he's maybe winning 8, 9, 10 rounds in a row. Because he has the potential to do that. Career 26-6 fighter in this league. Sticking and moving, Darian Castro.
His last outing against Nashville, Israel was nicked with a few hooks coming in. So let's just see if the veteran Castro sees some defensive lapses. He's trying to shoot that left hand in and needs just maybe about another 8 inches closer to get that one home.
Tried for it again.
You know, even though that uppercut did not land by Castro, it was effective because Israel loading up for a lead right hand, had it cocked, had it ready, but then walked into an attempted uppercut. So it made him change his focus and put the offense away and try to reload.
Castro rather, taking advantage of Israel. Caught on the inside. They fight back at range.
Now for Castro, what might set up that body shot or the big bomb would be a double jab. Get himself a little bit closer with that and create a little movement by his opponent.
Again, we talked about the slow start to the season for Darian Castro. While it feels like he has the upper hand here, it is not as clear-cut as a lot of the rounds from Castro in the past.
Yeah, we've seen a higher connect percentage from him in other fights. You know, you'll see 5 or 6 punches launched and at least half of them get in. Here, he controlled things, but he was throwing from further out. So he had to fights off his opponent here. See him loading up the big shots. And when he's backing up, okay, that gets in, but he's not sitting down on his punches here. And that's what we saw him doing more of in other fights.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 12 by way of unanimous decision from the Las Vegas Hustle, Darian Castro.
So Vegas back up by 5. The first to reach double digits. Castro has given them a 10-5 lead. 4 more rounds to go here in the middle stages. We'll be back after this. Through 12 rounds, Vegas has maintained a 5-point lead, up 10-5 on Phoenix. We go back inside the ring for round 13 with Ray.
Round 13 at super middleweight. Las Vegas, Diana De Pestre. Phoenix, Sebastian Salomon Duran.
More experience versus fresh faces. De Pestre in his 4th season, and there Duran, TBL rookie, 0-3 to start this season. As we get round number 13 underway at super middleweight. Vegas has a 5-point lead, and Amelia standing by with one of the coaches for Vegas. It's Dewey Cooper.
Coach, so in between the break with the launch in the middle rounds, what exactly was the message to the team?
The message is to stay on the gas. We have a nice 5-point lead, but one knockout, and it's a 1-point lead. Team boxing league, the score can flip really quickly. We got to stay focused and quit playing around, salsa dancing, and fight. We're here to fight, and we need to keep the lead and extend it.
So is it fair to say stick to the original game plan, or did you actually give them adjustments to make?
I told them we can't be on some back foot boxing. We must do what our name says and hustle hard. Come forward, throw more punches, throw them in bunches, win these damn rounds.
Excellent work, Coach, and best of luck to you guys, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Justin, get us back in the ring.
Yeah, about 45 seconds here into round 13. And De Pestre, the Cuban sniper, trying to find the range with that jab against Duran.
Duran was in an excellent matchup with Juan Barajas in the money rounds. Ate a lot of uppercuts, but he kept coming. Faced a sharpshooter opponent. Showed a lot of resilience. And if you're De Pestre, knowing that you could try to land the same type of punches. And on the other side, here is Duran trying to put pressure on.
He's not shying away from coming inside the pocket with De Pestre. 28-year-old Mexican native stands at 6 feet even. Ooh, talking about Joanna Nwamaru facing a lot of high-profile fighters within the league. Duran has done the same, has faced nothing but TBL vets thus far. De Pestre here, mentioned Barajas, faced Ronald Ellis as well against Boston.
And at some point, you hope that you get over a hump facing these fighters, and then you learn a lot, and all of a sudden you become a veteran fighter. It takes time, but it's a great building process here. When you face a lot of good fighters back to back, you learn a lot about speed, learn about the pace of the fight. You may think that you're throwing punches at a good pace, and you realize that the other guy is throwing it better than you, and then you have to ramp up your speed and your thinking. Pestre always starting with the jab to the point where you're looking for it, and he hits you with the right hand. Nice veteran move.
Pestre calmly confident. He's given his team what could be a 6-point lead. We'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 13 by way of unanimous decision from the Las Vegas Hustle, Diana De Pestre. Round 14 at light heavyweight, Las Vegas, Chandler Martinez, Phoenix, Raico Santana.
Well, here was our round to watch, Dave. Johandler Martinez off to a 5-0 TBL start against Raico Santana. who has done nothing but win since he entered the league last year. A 22-3 mark in the team boxing league.
Most valuable fighter. The big win after the season. Keeping the pressure on this year. So this is an all-star matchup.
Martinez 5-0 with those 5 points for his team. Santana, meanwhile, with 4 points. He's in the maroon trunks. Martinez in the black for Vegas.
Yeah, we were looking at this a couple days out. 2 unbeaten guys here, 2 of the league leaders in TBL.
There's a lot of juicy, good individual rounds this weekend. You have this one coming up Sunday. Atlanta's Ariel Davis and Philly's Stacia Suttles. You can make the case that's the best pound-for-pound round to make in the league.
Yes, Suttles and Davis. Suttles has been a freight train, and Davis has been a points machine.
Good work with the left hand from Santana. Started with the body shot and worked his way upstairs.
Martinez looking away here. Looks some inspiration to come from someplace. The Santana has been in a groove.
Rayco Santana, the most valuable fighter at a team boxing league in 2025. A little over a minute to go in this round against one of the Rookie of the Year front runners in Johanna Martinez.
And Rayco Santana has done an excellent job cutting off the ring and keeping Martinez pocketed. More veteran savvy all the way from Rayco Santana.
Good punching with one another. Now Santana marching forward, has that right hand cocked back. Didn't unload. But he continues to control the ground game.
Yeah, and so when Martinez had a couple of his best moments there, a la Dewey Cooper, it was off the back foot.
Right counter landing by Santana. That was a solid final 45 seconds or so for Johanna Martinez. And you wonder how much that little burst could influence the judges here.
Never know. It was all Santana for a while with things like this, keeping Martinez bottled up. And this is the veteran does that. Martinez had some moments himself where you look like from the body language of Santana that he just wanted to run out the clock there. Good left hook by Martinez got in.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 14 by way of split decision from the Phoenix Fury, Rayco Santana. Round of 15 at cruiserweight, Las Vegas, Luis Portuondo Calam. Phoenix, Charles Pugh.
I think it was interesting what Pugh said to Amelia, like, oh, then I go have to fight a Cuban national. It's no fun. And when you see what's happened tonight with the results, you can understand.
Portuondo in the black trunks in his second season. And Charles Pugh. Late bloomer turned brute force in TBL days.
Yeah, and a straight-ahead plotter type of a fighter, had a huge run all throughout last year. Became a major leader on this Phoenix team. won a share in very close fights. Got on a huge run, and at times it seemed like he carried the team with him by being a leader.
Pugh trying to keep Portuondo distance with that jab, just sticking it out there. And a 12-year age gap between these two fighters. This is another fighter, though, who had a ton of success last year in Pugh, coming off back-to-back losses to Nashville's D'Angelo Leachman. So how does he respond in his 2 rounds with Luis tonight?
It's an indication of the overall talent in the league improving, because nothing happened with Pugh. What you see is what you get. Straight ahead, try to outwork opponents, and you know, the people he's fighting have more talent than they have had. You talked about Leachman, a national champion, and then coming into here. So the competition level has increased.
I think it speaks to the level of the league's selection process. You may have had success one year. A lot of fighters have success year over year, but there's no time to kind of rest on what you did last season.
Yeah, with the movement, it gives you the whole idea about you have to be 20% better just to be even with where you were the year before.
There was a good left hook on the back foot thrown by Pugh. It landed moments ago.
And throughout last year, when he did well, they did well. He was winning at critical times for the team. He was coming up with doubles. We would like to get back to that.
Yeah, between Pugh and Raiko Santana and Rahman Muhammad, I mean, that was as good of a trio around the league as any. Rahman Muhammad, young, impressive welterweight for Phoenix last season. He had a couple of traditional boxing fights for the last several months. Not currently competing for Phoenix. We'll see if that changes. But Pugh completes his round. This is a round Phoenix needs to close the gap.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 15 by way of split decision. From the Las Vegas house of Luis Portuondo Cala. Our final middle round will be in the heavyweight division. For Las Vegas, Kai Brooks. Phoenix, Dante Stone.
Kai Brooks entering the ring for Las Vegas, coming off a pair of losses to San Antonio's Travores Barnes. There's Dante Stone, 2-2 so far in his TBL career. 31-year-old out of Chandler, Arizona. 6'3" heavyweight in the maroon trunks, a 6'4" heavyweight in the black trunks.
And for Brooks, it's his second straight opponent who's a lefty. And so he was hit with a lot of looping straight left hands in the last fight. And it was something that did not bode well for him.
See if Stone takes a page out of Barnes' book.
And the key for Brooks, you see him trying to address it there with the style, and then also you see what Stone was trying to do, that lead right hand. Against a guy who has a long, arcing left hand, you have to make a decision to take the risk and try to get there first with a big shot of your own. Now, when we saw Brooks get 2 knockouts in one night and then become an 8-point fighter, the style was much different, and the opponent was more cooperative quote unquote. Not being outside and being selective like this.
Round 16, final rounds here in the middle rounds. And Vegas currently doubling up Phoenix, 12-6, looking to improve to 3-1.
And Brooks is doing some of what we talked about, that wants to get the big right-handed. But right now, hey, if the jab is there, maybe it sets up something. Try to make sure you get your points first, and then see if the opportunity will present itself. Good shoulder, but not caught.
Yeah, nice shoulder throw from Dante Stone. Left hand comes whizzing in from Dante Stone, and another left hook that Brooks, like he kind of walked into.
And that was his bugaboo in the previous matchup, and he's eating a few of them now. And what's helping Stone get that in was that he jabbed his way in, and so he was able to shield the look of that big left hand for just enough time to get it in.
20 seconds to go. Will there be enough time for an impact punch between these two fighters? And will there be enough time to save Stone's trunks from falling? See the waistband going lower and lower, Dave.
Double drama.
Brooks falls through the ropes. That took some time off the clock.
It's a big man to get tangled in there. So, what's working against this powerful Kai Brooks? That hard left hand, which landed a few times for Stone in the final minute of this fight. We were looking for the big left hand to drop, the trunks to drop, and he was trying to drop Brooks all at the same time.
Brooks took a seat. Round 16 completed. We'll see what the judges say at the conclusion of the middle rounds.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 16 by way of split decision from the Phoenix Fury, Dante Stone. At the end of the middle rounds, it is Las Vegas.
So Dante Stone cuts into it, makes it 12-7. We've had 3 straight split decisions. A lot of people want to know, where can you watch TBL? Well, Justin Shackle has all the answers.
Thanks so much, Dave. Glad to have you all with us for Team Boxing League action tonight. And here's how you can tell other fans where to tune in for TBL events, because there are a few different ways we can be seen. You can now watch us on MSG Networks and the Gotham Sports app, as well as on our home network, Envoy Fast. Plus, the full season of Encores are on Envoy TV every day. Download the Envoy app. Connected TV users with Samsung, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Roku, and LG devices can download the TBL app and watch both live action and play previous matches on demand. TBL is also seen on YouTube, the TBL app, and in Spanish on the Estrella Network.
8 more rounds to play with in South Florida. Las Vegas with a 12-7 lead over Phoenix as it tries to improve to 3-1 in this West Division showdown. Week 7 at TBL in sunny South Florida. Getting set. Speaking of sunny Gutierrez is Phoenix Fury, though in the hole right now, Dave. And we talked about how these two teams kind of went back and forth at the very beginning. The big knockdown, the extra points for Vegas in the launch rounds, just proving to be too much at the moment because these two teams, they split the 4 rounds in the middle round phase, so we're back where we were at the end of the launch rounds. It's a 5-point lead for Vegas.
Yeah, so Vegas basically able to hold steady in that time period as we went back and forth. And Vegas has to be very happy with where it is standing after the middle rounds at a 12-7 lead. And a veteran team like this last year, you know they would never give up this lead. So now we're curious to see how this year's team handles the lead as they play with it.
Interestingly enough, we go and look at one of the big rounds from that middle round. That was our round to watch, the 14th. It was the TBL youngster, Johanler Martinez, going up against Reiko Santana, who had a fantastic rookie season in 2025 for Team Boxing League. This one was pretty close, Steve.
Yes, it was, but Reiko Santana putting all the pressure on early, and then Martinez finding something in the last 45 seconds to make it within reason in a split decision. But in the end, it is ring him up Reiko. He continues undefeated, and he wins the Battle of the O's.
So Santana improves to 21-2 in his TBL career. And so much in 2025, we saw those 3 big fighters for Phoenix almost be automatic. Pugh, Santana, and Muhammad. Something interesting happens here in the middle rounds, as it has happened. Charles Pugh gets outpointed by Luis Porciunato in one of the middle rounds, and that's going to be our round to watch. The rematch coming up in the money rounds.
Yeah, it was a split decision, and the point we were making about Charles Pugh, he hasn't regressed. The league has improved, that all the quality fighters coming into it. So where he was, he is what you see he is, coming straight forward. But when he comes in here, a good fighter, put a lot out of him, split decision. I'm curious to see now with the adjustments. That's why it's a good round to watch. A split, who does something different?
Yeah, still just a 5-point cushion. So Vegas in the driver's seat, but Phoenix certainly can have their say before this one is over. It's time for the money rounds in South Florida. Let's go back inside with Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to begin the money rounds between the Las Vegas Hustle and Phoenix Fury. Round 17 in the featherweight division. Las Vegas, Florencia Britos. Phoenix, Tierra Brandt.
Britos and Brandt getting set for round 2 to kick off the money rounds. 17th round overall. These two squared off in round number 3, fought to a split decision. An entertaining fight with Britos edging out Brandt. And that was the final round in which Phoenix led here tonight.
Yeah, the big knockout would come a couple of rounds later. And, you know, we've had a bevy of split decisions here tonight now, 3 in a row. And when you're the fighters, you're seeing that really driving home the message of not taking anything for granted. Even if you think you're being dominant, you don't know if the judges see it the way you do. And the adjustments here, Britos was very good to the body in the first fight.
All but one of the rounds have been decided by the judges' scorecards here tonight. The big round, that 5th round knockout recorded by Rainier Salgado, so that earned his team 4 points. Again, all the points scored add up for your team here in TBL. If you win by way of a judge's decision, it's 1 point. If you score a knockdown, it's 2 points. 2 or more knockdowns is 3 points. Or in the case of Salgado, 4 points for a knockout or a stoppage. And that's what we saw earlier tonight.
And we're seeing these good left hooks to the body from Britos, and then jamming to the body, which you don't see all that much of. But she's getting off the mark with the left hand first. And these are great body shots. She's giving herself positioning first. And said the different look she got when she went southpaw as the straight left hand was open for her, but now she's back.
Grant slipping out of the way of that right hand, but she stood right in front of a couple of jabs just now from Britos.
Been terrific activity from a pace standpoint by Britos, getting off first. I'd say probably about 90% of the time in these first 2 minutes. Forcing Grant to play catch-up.
Good right counter. Action on the inside as Britos pushes Grant back to the ropes. Under 50 seconds to go in the 17th. Oh, tagged it with that right hand. That may have caught Britos' attention.
One of the few times that Britos was not able to get off first, and Grant, as she did in the opener, finding some momentum and things that work in the final minute of the fight.
And a good left hook on the counter from Tierra Brand. Arguably the 2 most accurate punches of the round going to Brand thus far. Some good close range action right in the grill of Britos from Tierra Brand.
Yeah, she has found something just like she did before. These are great punches that came in for her. The left hooks. But you look at this, 3 minutes is not enough. That's the whole beauty and concept of the league, as we saw Britos in the beginning with these terrific body shots, double hook to the body, setting up the left hook to the head. Really was extremely effective for her. 3 and out. Beautiful demonstration of good punches for the judges. And when Brant gets closer and did not face that left hook, then the big right hand came in from Brant, then the big left hook came in from Brant.
Could that final minute burst have swung the pendulum toward Tierra Brand?
Round 17 by way of unanimous decision. From Las Vegas, also Florencia Britos.
Well, the answer is no.
No, but you know, rewarded for that early barrage we showed on the replay. Terrific action by her inside.
Ruiz, Phoenix Manuel Villalobos.
So here is round number 18, originally scheduled to be Dislan Gainza against Todd Manuel, but, well, Manuel was outpointed by Gainza. Manuel didn't look completely right during that round.
Talked about the legs being widely spread apart and just didn't have that look of somebody who thought might come back. So
in steps Ruiz and Villalobos, and these two met in the 8th round to close out the money rounds. Ruiz fought to a unanimous decision. And that was a good boxing round from Eric Ruiz. Let's see if that continues. This starting in a similar fashion as their first round with Villalobos on the offensive.
And then when Ruiz settled in, he settled in for a long time as he's trying to get inside and getting through the traffic of being tied up.
Here's the jab from Ruiz that really slowed down Villalobos in that first meeting tonight. And we haven't seen any jabs from Ruiz. We've seen some big power shots through.
And you always like to see a guy basically almost willing to double work. As, okay, he's tied up, you know, you can go back. But instead, he used that opportunity to throw some body punches, and that caused separation. And the referee didn't even have to get in the middle of them.
See the height listings for both men. I tell you what, the big element that I think separates Eric Ruiz from most heavyweights in this league is his good footwork.
Yeah, shows you the good angles. And he did something which I think stands out to the judges. When you're tied up and then you throw a few shots and make the other guy back up and cause the separation, that is prominent in the eyes of the judges. It is clear. And I also love his patience because, okay, he took 3 shots there. Nothing more was offered. So he goes back and reloads.
Villalobos getting a left hand in there moments ago. A little over a minute to go, but there you see, look at the movement from Ruiz, angling to his right, to his left, and peppering Villalobos along the ropes.
And to do it that quickly, you put yourself in good offensive position, and you're going to create an opening with your opponent. Basically, it's footwork creating a chance for you.
Ruiz tagging Villalobos along the ropes. Some great movement. He knows that when he's able to angle, he's causing fits for his fellow heavyweight. 30 seconds to go here in the 18th round. More and more shots landing for Eric Ruiz.
Villalobos is going in against the chameleon. He's a body puncher 1 minute. He's a boxer another minute. Shows a ton of different looks, and that versatility has been a terrific outlet for him tonight.
2 high-quality rounds of boxing from Eric Ruiz tonight. The Vegas heavyweight with the Cuban crowd behind him here in South Florida, picking apart his opponent. That was impressive.
Yeah, and on the bench, they erupt. They love, basically, the adrenaline he showed. Now, here's the one look. I'm this angle. Oh, I'm a different type of southpaw over here. Now you see me, now you don't. Now you can throw a punch, now you can't. I'm in, I'm out, I'm gone, good night. No need for the judges to stress too much. That would be the message by Ruiz with this virtuoso demonstration there. That is quite a collage.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 18 by way of unanimous decision. From the Las Vegas also, Eric Ruiz. Round 19 at cruiserweight. For Las Vegas, Luis Portuondo Calam. For Phoenix, Charles Pugh.
Round number 19, our round to watch. A chance for Pugh to get some redemption here, and he and the team for the Phoenix Fury, they certainly need it.
Yeah, it was a split decision that he lost. Used to out-hustling fighters coming straight ahead, and he fought somebody just on a different notch. But it was close. So if you hustle and get a little bit more activity in, maybe you get a split for your way the next time.
Vegas winning the first 2 rounds. The money rounds have now built up a 14-7 lead on Phoenix.
And what they have to be happy about is the round-by-round total. Okay, you have the one knockout, which is great, but you take that away, and it's still a string of victories by this team. Now, when we saw that huge run by Charles Pugh last year, we saw a few fighters actually able to back him up. And that is what Portuondo has been able to do several times in this fight, and also in the first one.
Good head movement for Portuondo as he tries to launch the jab. So it's tick-tock defense from Portuondo earlier in the round, then coming in with some big power shot attempts. Slow down a little bit, continuing to move the head Tyson style.
They like to get up and under and duck some and then score. Always one of the beautiful things about Tyson, and your reference there is big move was always a defensive one first.
Oh, he ate a big right hand from Charles Pugh. I think he ate it well, though, Dave. Pugh fighting with his mouth open, unleashes another right hand. Gets through, and he smothers delivers him again with a straight right hand. Charles Pugh catching some fire within the last 40 seconds of this round.
Well, Pugh has been a straight-ahead fighter, and he's had a straight line in front of him right here. Oh,
there's another one.
He launched an attempted lights-out right that did not miss by much.
They butt heads casually as if to say, yeah, let's go. Let's close the show in style, guy.
And why was Pugh able to make such a big run? We talked about him being a straight-ahead fighter, and stylistically this lined up beautifully for him in the last 40 seconds to allow him to make a big run. So let's take a look at the action from that last round. Straight ahead, boom. That is where Pugh found his legs, and then he's looking to capitalize. That's another good look at it. You give him that kind of time and that kind of angle, he's going to drill you. Put a smile on his face.
Fans, the winner of round 19 by way of split decision. From the Las Vegas hustle, Luis Portuondo Cala.
Well, it wasn't enough for Charles Pugh, but it was an entertaining final 45 seconds for him.
Round 20 at lightweight for Las Vegas, Osbel Caballero. Phoenix Marcos Forestal.
I think that's a perfect way to summarize that round, Dave. And even more jarring because we rarely see it. Charles Pugh 0 for 2 within one event.
Yeah, and basically the point that we made back in the first fight, holding true. That type of a style, he only saw it for a short while tonight, the straight ahead guy coming right at him. And he saw a lot more of that last year. So the talent level goes up.
Vegas has won 3 straight rounds and 4 of the last 5. Again, that knockout by Salgado in round 5 was the big one to put together some distance. And we are getting going. This was originally supposed to be Darian Castro against Colin McNeil. McNeil was the fighter that Salgado knocked out all the way back in round number 5. So in steps Caballero and Forestal here. And Caballero's coming off a defeat earlier in the night to Kevin Quintero. Forestal fell to Alan Medina. So as we get set with this one, Amelia is standing by with Eric Ruiz, who put on 2 impressive rounds earlier tonight for Las Vegas. Amelia?
Beautiful work tonight. The footwork was absolutely incredible. How do you adjust to come back in sort of short notice when you weren't originally anticipating coming back in?
Bien trabajito esta noche. Tus pies estaban magníficos. Dice que como tú te sientas y entras así y das todo ese ánimo así.
Bueno, primeramente muchas gracias por la entrevista y eso es el gran trabajo que hacemos en el gimnasio con los entrenadores día a día.
First of all, he wants to thank you for the interview. He's glad to be here, and it's through the work that we put in. It's the work that we put in and just consistently working and developing that movement.
So question for the team, just having a question for overall for the team. How do you continue to make adjustments and gain those points, but not put yourself in a position where there's a potential to make a mistake?
Yes, that's what we were kind of warning him about. He's a slugger. He likes to slug. But we got him to the point where he's boxing and moving and using his intelligence to get around and create those angles. So we took away his power a little bit so that he'd be a little smart and touch a little more. Did you see him in the corner popping? That's his normal routine. So we just told him to go back to that.
I mean, it's beautiful boxing at its best. So yeah, great instruction then for him.
We appreciate that. Que boxeaste bien. Eso es magnífico por boxearte. Y te ve como si, I tell him, we train him like he's a lightweight. And he fights like a lightweight, but he's a heavyweight with great movement. So we're very proud of him.
Excellent work, Luis. Justin, get us back in the ring.
Thank you, Amelia. Terrific work for Eric Ruiz. May have earned himself a star of the night honor. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely, and making the point that, you know, we saw that hustle and the footwork like he was a few weight classes down, and they're training him like that. It's a good thing for his development.
Well, this one is getting close to the point of no return for Phoenix. They're down by 8. And there'll be 4 more rounds to go after this one. You can do the math there.
Yeah, it's gotten quite late for Phoenix, but even, you know, with any situation, if you have a pull away, there's still the individual matchups and your individual development with your coach. That you know, you want a spot in the lineup the next time your team fights. You have to earn that. So it might be a different type of pressure on the fighters, but it's still there.
Looked like there was an accidental head clash, and blood is coming down from the right side of Forrestal's face here. You saw him just now wiping it away with that left hand. But it is pouring out quickly.
Yeah, and they will be looking at that, and a lot of times the fighter has something to do with that. If you start to rub it, bring attention to it, then it brings attention to it all the way around. And the really tough thing, we've seen this in some other fights, you're looking at a layoff.
So we're being told that came from a punch, Dave. We'll see it on a replay a little bit later. In the last 15 seconds or so.
And the interesting thing too is that was not called a headbutt. So like the ruling on the field or in the ring here is that it was a straight shot. Well, that's a warrior.
Let's take a look and see if we can pinpoint where exactly in the round and what shot led to that nasty gash right on the right eyebrow of Forrestal.
Right, they're both digging low for position. Good right hand there. It's a sharp punch that got in there. We haven't seen the heads in that angle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 20 by way of split decision from the Phoenix Fury, Marcos Forrestal.
That is literally what you call a tough way to win.
Bloodied up and all, Forrestal gets the win for Phoenix, though they still trail by 7 with 4 rounds to go. Can Vegas close it out? Stay tuned. Currently up 15-8 here in the money rounds. And we are ready to go for round 21. Let's go back to Ray Flores.
Round 21 at light heavyweight. Las Vegas, your Chandler Martinez. Phoenix, Raico Santana.
Rico Santana won a split decision over Johanler Martinez, dealing him his first TBL defeat. That came back in round 14. They rematch again with this lead almost completely out of reach for Phoenix to try and catch.
Yeah, and so there's a different type of individual focus here on one of the top fighters in the league, essentially the MVP of the league last year, Rico Santana, against the rising star in Martinez.
And back in that round, Amelia, the first round that they met in the 14th, didn't look like Martinez was completely overmatched by the more seasoned TBL fighter. But what did you like about what Rico Santana was able to do against Martinez?
You know, we've had discussions before about Martinez's physicality. You know, like usually he's very physically dominant, and then you come up against a fighter like Rico Santana, who is an absolute bulldozer. And I feel like Rico did a good job using that physicality to kind of overwhelm at times, to be able to quell that physicality out of Martinez.
I really like how he's adjusting to moments, Emilio, coming in and immediately launching offense and not letting Martinez move to escape what he's doing. Even after a break, he's right on him.
Yeah, you know, and that's been the most exciting about their previous matchup, was these high-level exchanges where they stay in the pocket, the both of them, and having beautiful defense. And, you know, the energy is so high with these high-level exchanges.
No knockdown. Martinez sitting near the ropes. That's the 90 seconds to go here in the 21st.
Amelia, you talked about the physicality. So if you're Martinez, how does that translate out? What is he facing here in Rico Santana that he hasn't had to face with other opponents?
Well, I mean, Martinez is used to being the one who's more physical and being able to use that strength behind his straight punches. And I think he's having a hard time finding that footing because Rico's constantly cutting the ring down, constantly putting that pressure on, constantly following up. And so being able to use that range and have long punches it's been difficult for him.
The sharp exchange between the two in that corner moments ago.
And, you know, I would say, Dave, to kind of double down on that, Martinez he can't be on the back foot. He's got to be moving around, you know, using the ring, trying to stay from being on his back foot and box. You know, talking very strong, decisive punches. And that's an exhausting thing to do.
Yeah, I was thinking that we haven't seen much from him in the way of the jab, as we've seen in other fights. So that was taken away from him.
Couldn't agree more.
This might have been a closer round to score. You could argue Martinez got the two cleanest punches of the round off, two straight right hands.
When you try to get some context, it's the physicality, it's the advancing here of Rico Santana that could be tie-breaking optically if the judges have a hard time. Stuff like this is where he really racked up points.
Team Boxing League fans, the winner of round 21 by way of split decision from the Las Vegas hustle, Johanler Martinez.
Well, tougher to score is right. Still a split, two splits between these guys, and a split in the
Round
verdict.
22 will be at super middleweight. For Las Vegas, Diane De Pestre. Phoenix, Sebastian Salomon Duran.
Just the third ever TBL defeat for Rico Santana. It comes at the hands of Johanler Martinez.
Well, we thought tonight that, you know, somebody's always going to go this year, and they both went as they went 1-1 against each other. Good matchmaking and excellent two fights between them to watch.
So an 8-point lead for Vegas with 3 more rounds to go. Here at 168 pounds, Sebastian Durant for Phoenix doing it again with Dion DePestre. It was DePestre winning back in round 13. Vegas has racked up round wins in bunches. They've won 4 of the first 5 here in the money rounds.
And so it has brought up a unique bit of context here. Usually the knockout is the decisive changing moment in these matches. But tonight it has been more like an anchor, almost a footnote to what Las Vegas has done.
Right hand coming through from DePestre. And he's winding up and slugging there with that right hand, Dave. DePestre circling down on Durant, who seems to be compromised. He looks as if a contact lens or something fell out.
Yes, if it wasn't something like that, normally you say, oh, he thinks he got headbutted. Yeah, he's not quite seeing it, and he's walking into these right hands. And now the DePestre is indicating something, like injury with his
He hurt that right arm. Could have been the shoulder. And that is going to force the referee to call time here. He may have thrown out his shoulder. Not a good sight.
Oh, he's trying to do what he can to get this thing back. Was there a collision first that exacerbated it? We're on the inside.
Very strange they're letting him try and ring that out on his own.
Yes, and usually they will only let you do that if they believe a foul has occurred first. We're going to get another look. See if we can pick this up. Gets caught on the neck here.
Well, they determined nothing was dislocated, and we are resuming action here.
I do see some monumental toughness. We've seen a fighter.
I mean, he just threw the right hand, turned over the wrist. No ill effects. Okay.
Now, if you're Durant and you're Phoenix, you may also be wondering, you're glad he's okay, but do they have a right to do that in the middle of a round? Should that have been a victory for Phoenix, which could have been a 4-pointer? Trying to get back into this to allow that type of break. I say usually they'll do that if they believe there has been a foul first. No foul.
At the same time, the stoppage within the round might have allowed Sebastian Durant to get over whatever was bothering him with the eyes.
He's coming back a little bit more focus here. But it was a unique non-call. We've seen that often where a fighter receives an injury, and if there's no foul, they make you come right back and fight, or they call it. So for Vegas, it's a continuation of everything falling right for them tonight.
Left hand to the body, landing from DePestre. Well, a bizarre start and stop. Round number 22 between DePestre and Durant. Vegas hoping to add to its lead. Here you see the hustle.
So we've seen Forrester shake off a headbutt, resulting in a massive amount of blood down his eye. Come right back, and we're seeing DePestre going to work, doing his best opportunities here, and then later he would have that shoulder problem and get over it.
If Vegas wins the round, they win the match. Let's see.
TBL fans, the winner of round 22 by way of split decision. From the Las Vegas Hustle, Diana DePestre. Our penultimate money round will be in the middleweight division. For Las Vegas, it is Joseph Hicks. For Phoenix, Jordan Barrera.
So that round win by DePestre puts Vegas up by 9 with 2 rounds to go. No way that Phoenix can come back and win this one. We'll be window dressing from here on out as Hicks and Barrera get into the ring. And Las Vegas, Dave, is going to move to 3-1.
Yeah, we talked about how they wanted this to be the springboard after the outing against San Antonio. You get any type of a break. Key thing is, as a team, that you jump on it and capitalize the following week. And what Vegas has done has been up and down, a complete team performance, to the point we were talking earlier that the knockout, which was certainly beneficial, really did not define them tonight.
No, but you could also say that they kept their foot on the gas after picking up that important sequence, that important stoppage from Salgado.
The knockout was a footnote in an otherwise exceptional team performance.
Hicks closing the gap, getting inside and utilizing the left hand.
Las Vegas has responded to what Dewey Cooper told them between the launch and the middle rounds, like, let's win these doggone rounds, one by one.
Teams traded the first couple of rounds, and Salgado in that 5th round, stopping Colin McNeil with a straight left hand to end it. At that point, Vegas went up by 4. Kept a 5-point lead through the middle rounds, and they have stretched this lead after winning 5 of the 6 first money rounds, now to 9.
And that's exactly how a team wants to walk away, with a big performance in the money rounds. That's the last thing you remember as a unit. And conversely, for Phoenix, this is 2 straight outings, including the one against Nashville, where the money rounds were not kind to them.
Barrera trying to do work inside, gets whacked with a right hand from Hicks up top. Barrera took this first round of the night between he and Hicks. Going for the home run was Barrera. And they fight to the bell.
Take a look at the action from that round. Hicks and Barrera, that good straight right hand against the southpaw style. And if you wait and set it up, you'll be rewarded.
TBL fans, the winner of round 23 by way of split decision from the Phoenix Fury, Jordan Barrera. Our final money round will be in the heavyweight division. For Las Vegas, Kai Brooks, Phoenix, Dante Stone.
the 24th and final round of the night. Kai Brooks, Dante Stone with Vegas firmly on top, 17-9. Now it's a chance for Dante Stone to sweep his 2 rounds with Kai Brooks. That's left for Phoenix here, who's going to fall to 1-2. Amelia, after a showing like this, again, going up against a seasoned club like Las Vegas, and after what we saw with Phoenix and Nashville, again, where they're being outscored in bunches in particular rounds, exactly like they have been tonight, what is your takeaway from Phoenix at this point in the season?
Oh, that's a tough one. You know, they're one of those teams that has this really destructive energy at times, you know, and you saw that last year, absolutely. And kind of seeing where they can fill their gaps and where they can come back with that energy. They wanted to make the comeback tonight. They had the energy, they said, in the locker room to make that happen, and it didn't deliver. So, you know, it's how do you go back to the drawing board and make those adjustments is going to be the real question for the coaches.
Amelia, you know, we've seen Kai Brooks with those 2 knockouts in the one night, and then last week the lefty bothered him, and tonight the lefty bothering him. What is it about this stylistic matchup that is difficult as you see it for Kai Brooks?
You know, I heard his coaching staff in the corner here being like, you have to step out, and having that awareness, you know, and a lot of people get caught up with the southpaws because not taking their feet outside of that lead foot, and I think that's been something that he's been trying to work on.
Yeah, you need to put your lead foot outside the lead foot of your opponent, try to get him moving in circles, and then maybe into the path of that lead right hand. So, you know, that's really something about the league, and you can get 2 knockouts one week and then face a style you don't like, and then the wins don't come.
Well, styles make fights, Dave. You know how it goes.
Yes.
Less than a minute to go in this one. Final round between Phoenix and Las Vegas. The hustle on their way to move it to 3-1, getting a big win over a division foe. Good tag from Kai Brooks. And another one. He caught Stone on the way in.
Gives you a good idea of what he can do when style sets up for him. So the lead right wasn't there for Kai Brooks. Let's see how that impacts the decision.
Well, this closes the show in South Florida. Taking a look at the action from the final round.
Looping shot by Brooks misses with that lead right hand. Tries it again, but was far out. Later on, he would land a left hook as he got closer.
Let's finalize this event.
TBL fans, the winner of round 24 by way of split decision from the Las Vegas Hustle, Kai Brooks.
Gets enough and gets out of here with a split.
6 straight split decisions to close out the night, and yet Las Vegas wins comfortably over Phoenix. Kai Brooks wins it in the 24th, and Vegas moves to 3-1 with an 18-9 win over the Phoenix Fury. We'll be back in a moment with more. Stay with us. Team Boxing League is brought to you by Balance of Nature. In boxing, consistency beats intensity. Balance of Nature supplements help you stay consistent with ingredients of whole foods you can easily slot into your daily routine. Go to balanceofnature.com, use code TEAM, and start today. Las Vegas victorious 18-9. Time now for our star of the fight, brought to you by Balance of Nature. And we go back to round number 5. This was the separator early on in the launch rounds. Ranier Salgado going up against a TBL newcomer in Colin McNeil, making his TBL debut. He ate a left hand right there, Dave. That was the first knockdown in this one. He did not get back up.
And so on a night where we had a ton of split decisions and 2 had preceded this, Salgado said, judges, go home. We are not getting you involved in this. And this was a big breakthrough moment for him and for his team. A definitive victory, and they set a tone from there. They never looked back from this point.
Had the lead from there on out. They win it. Let's go back inside the ring with Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the War Memorial Auditorium, your final score, the Las Vegas Hustle 18, the Phoenix Fury 9. Here are your 3 stars of the fight. Your number 3 star, Phoenix Fury bantamweight, Aniela Lopez. Your number 2 star, Las Vegas Hustle heavyweight, Jairek Ruiz. Your Balance of Nature number 1 star of the night, Las Vegas Hustle welterweight, Ranier Salgado. The round of the night, round number 3 between Florencia Britos and Tierra Brent.
Coach Dewey Cooper, congratulations to you and Coach David Hayes on a fantastic win tonight. I have to ask, what impressed you most about how the team handled momentum tonight?
We're going into our 4th fight of the year. The team is finally getting the momentum. They're taking this more serious. We're not dancing around. We're here trying to get knockouts, and that's what we're most happiest about. Coach David Hayes, Coach David Anthony, Coach Eric Belanga. We work all week about finishing guys. We're called the Las Vegas Hustle. Hustle means finish people, be aggressive, and tonight they did just that. Arizona, Phoenix is a great team, but tonight it was about the Las Vegas Hustle. Hustle hard.
Excellent work, gentlemen. Congratulations, Vegas, on a very dominant performance tonight.
Thank you.
And I believe Coach David here is going to help me with translation tonight. So we heard from Ruiz earlier tonight, and I have to ask, how did it feel to, how satisfying to you was it to be able to kind of dictate that pace? We talked about your feet earlier and how amazing your footwork and angle was, but how satisfying was that to be able to dictate that pace?
Hablamos de tus pies y todas las cosas buenas que tú hiciste. ¿Cómo fue la satisfacción que tú saliste y saliste tan listo y tan inteligente?
No, eso es primeramente gracias al trabajo de mi equipo, que trabajamos cada día en el gimnasio, y muy contento con ese gran trabajo. Y muchas gracias a la liga por esa tan ayuda que nos da a nosotros y oportunidad para salir bien y victorioso.
He says he owes it all to his team and everything that we do in the gym. It's just the work. It just comes back into the plan. So he wants to thank TBL for the opportunity. He's grateful, and he's just going to keep working hard and continue to do what we do.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Salgado. So you dropped your opponent first with that. You initially dropped your opponent, and then you came in with that straight left to be able to finish him with the KO. That punch, specifically the straight left, was that something that you saw previously to set up, or did you see the opening just at that moment?
Esta noche tú saliste bien fuerte. Se vio que tú saliste con mucho ánimo. Esa izquierda que tú tiraste, ¿fue que tú lo viste tempranito y lo tiraste y lo estabas seteando, o fue que tú lo estabas seteando tú mismo? ¿Lo viste o tú lo tiraste para setear?
So only keep working in the gym. My coach the last week is only punch, y ya se salió el trabajo.
Yeah, he says the work that he put in the gym, again, as coaches we work hard, and it's just continuous work. And he brought it to the arena today, and it worked out well.
I feel that perfect practice makes perfect performance. Excellent work tonight.
Thank you. Better hustle, campeón, champion.
Yes. Las Vegas hustle, baby. Let's go.
Justin, back to you.
Thanks so much, Amelia. Ranier Salgado, the top star of the night. How about that? Just straight lefts in the gym, nonstop. It showed up in fight night.
It really did. And then he threw a big right hand in there also with his opponent coming in. So great opportunity for him. And for this Vegas team, this is the type of performance they wanted to see. Up and down, they won every segment. Launch, middle, and the money.
So Las Vegas improves to 3-1. They got an 18-9 win over Phoenix. And the Las Vegas Hustle right now in a good rhythm. Winners of 2 in a row here in Team Boxing League. Week 7 continues tomorrow between Boston and Miami. Join us then coming up at 7 Eastern. Until then, for Dave Bontempo, Emilio Moore, our entire DBL crew, I'm Justin Shackle. We'll talk to you later this weekend.